Welcome to Elevating the Culture, a podcast that explores the complex issues confronting Black men and the people who care about them.
So, we into it, Adam? Welcome back to another episode of Elevating the Culture, the podcast that explores the complex issues that are confronting Black men and the people who care about them. I am Jude Clake, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Malik Adams and Russell Brooks. And as always, we start with what's going on, what's new, what are you into this week?
You go, brother, because you always got a lot.
So for me right now, just managing, the transition back to school with the kids, and, work picks up this time of year too. Like a lot of times people are off on vacation and holidays throughout the summer. So like work does kind of die off a little bit in the summertime, and then it picks up in the fall. So just navigating that and just, transitioning back into the structure, the routine, that schedule that's very, like it's just predictable, where kids got to be there at a certain time. They got to be picked up at a certain time. So, and like bedtimes and all that kind of stuff, which is good for me too. Like I thrive when there is routine, when I know what's going on. So that's really kind of what I'm in right now. That's the season that I'm in.
Nice one. And me, it's, work. We talked a bit about it before, which is school generally. And yeah, I like routine too, and I'm on the other side of that, like with the young people coming in, and it's also a place that's, it's school, man. So it's fast paced, right? It's dynamic. It's you got every type of person in there. We're at our highest population this year, which is like a thing for us, because population's growing everywhere, but including the city. So we're over 1,700 students. We've never been at that size before, and so everyone is kind of, there's like, that's what we keep saying, 1,700. So there's levels of what I think normal anxious feelings. And then there's kind of overstated anxiety. I'm like, they're kids, they're going to go to class, they're going to do what kids do, and we're going to be fine. So anyway, doing that, and some changes at work in terms of personnel. So managing that, but then also it's the season. So university's back. So I'm reconnecting with University King's College reached out to me. I did this last year, trying to do some health sessions with their terminology is racialized students, which is basically anybody who doesn't identify as white. That's how I interpret it. So I'm going to start that next month in preliminary discussions with correctional services about doing some health stuff with the brothers again. So we got to talk about that and what that's going to look like, and that's taken up a big part of my life, and I like it. So that part's good.
That's a lot. September seems like it's one of the busiest months.
I would agree.
Right? Not just for going back to school, but everything seems to pick up. All of the committee work, basketball starting for me again.
Right. Football.
Right. All that. So there's a lot going on. And I guess that's a good segue into the topic today, which is physical wellness. And physical wellness and how it impacts our mental wellness. So how do you see the value of physical wellness in this kind of realm of personal development, finding joy, finding fulfillment, finding peace?
So for me, as we both, or all three of us, just shared kind of what's going on in our lives right now, and there's a lot. And for me, that physical wellness piece and like being intentional about carving out that time allows me to try to do my best to balance out those things, because if I don't take that time and I'm not intentional about it, that's when I'll get overwhelmed. That's when I'll start to break down in other areas where I might not prepare as well. I might not get as much rest. I might not eat as well. So like for me, it kind of starts and it kind of revolves around that physical time and just carving out that space. And even with the, the routine and schedule stuff that I talked about, for me, I like this time of year too, because that allows me to have that dedicated time for that, physical piece too. Because like I know my kid's schedule, I know my work schedule. So I know every day when I have that time to get into the gym or to, get outside and, go for a walk or whatever that's going to look like for that day. So that's really like the center of it all for me. And then everything else kind of revolves around that. And then when I don't have that time, I feel it in so many areas. So
Right.
that's kind of like a core part for me in trying to balance out everything that I'm trying to juggle in life.
Nice one. Nice one. Like movement. So, you know, we've all talked about what we do physically, right? Like go to the gym. You know, Jude, I know that you run, you walk, and you run and you bike. I wanted to bike this summer and I never got around to it. So
Never mind. You had all kinds of opportunities. Never mind.
yeah, I did.
Mhm.
But hey, no excuses.
Next summer.
No excuses. Yeah, we'll do it next summer. Gives me a nice little 10 months to get prepared. But just even movement. So it's funny that we're talking about this because I was telling you guys before we started rolling, I got here early and you know, because I knew you guys wouldn't be here on
Here
time,
we
so
go.
I had to set.
We're going to get that in there somewhere, Russell.
Well, I just wanted audience. It's important you know the people that are in front of you. So I got here real early, and so I walked around the campus, right? And obviously it's a sunny day out today, so it's nice. And here's the thing I was thinking. One, I liked it because it was something different. Like I don't come down here and walk around the campus, so it was new. And it was kind of stereotypical, like a stereotypical picture. It was sunny, you know, you hear birds chirping, people were actually running. But one of the things that I was like struck by, and we talk about this a lot of the times, is that, you know, this is a south end of Halifax, and I rarely get down here. Like there's no reason. And so it seemed new, like the area, but it's not like I should be used to it. Like, and so it made me think of the unfortunate part of sometimes how we make our world small. Like it's like it, you know what I mean? It's so and to broaden it out. So the idea that I did something different and that incorporated something as simple as just walking around, taking things in. I didn't have my ear pods in because I wanted to hear the sounds. I didn't rush because I tend to walk fast. I would slow down. People probably thought I was trying to rob them, especially this part of town. But I wasn't, and it was cool. So it reinforced the idea of like just moving, just even moving, and the scenery was a bonus.
And you had sleeves on for once.
That's new. That's novel.
Listen, man, this is a team effort. I'm trying not to show people up, but so okay, that's what you're gonna get. You're getting no sleeves.
Spandex.
You're lucky.
I want spandex.
If I come down here in a unitard, a spandex unitard with no sleeves, all I'm saying is, okay, that's what the people want. I'll do what the people want.
Yeah, we got to get some feedback from the audience.
We said I appreciate that. I think physical wellness, Russell, you talked about it, that you miss it when you're not doing it. That's an indication that it's become a habit, part of what you do every day. And I kind of find that if there isn't that physical investment, for me, it's in the morning, things are off. So I get an opportunity, if I'm up early enough, to both go to the gym and go for a walk. And that sets the tone for my day and gets me right for the grandkids as they get up, getting into work and getting things accomplished. So, and I have the luxury in my home that everybody is active. My daughter, my wife, my daughter's partner, everybody's doing something. So there's an expectation now, or there's kind of a culture that's been developed there, which is really, really helpful also. On the days that you might not want to go for that walk, that run, somebody's getting their shoes on, somebody's packing up a bag, and that's extra motivation.
Let me ask you this on that note. What was your influence in that being the dynamic in your house?
That was my dad. It was my dad. My dad was walking and kind of being purposeful with exercise for as long as I can remember.
Okay. And so in terms of your household right now, though, you said everybody's active. Were they active before? Were you the last person on? Were you the first person on? Were you the middle? So what was your, or maybe it had no influence, although I don't believe that.
No, well, I mean, we've been working out now since university. Right. So that's just something I've always done. My wife has been relatively healthy, but she's been a lot more intentional in the last number of years, especially with some of the things that have gone on in our lives. So, and our daughter has just kind of picked it up. She was a little resistant,
Right.
wasn't doing a whole lot after high school. But it's funny that if that is what's taking place around you, sooner than later, it becomes a little bit more
Mm.
something that you want to involve in. It just becomes something that's natural,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
For
creating that environment, I think, is really, really important.
And
I
just real quick too, I just want to put this out there too, is I think it's always important when we have these conversations, to really convey that message that, it looks different for everybody.
Right.
Everybody.
Like there are a lot of, brothers who really prefer the gym,
Yes.
being in a physical gym with weights, and all the other things that go along with it. But like, you could do yoga, Pilates, it could be a sport, whatever that is that kind of brings you some joy, gives you some fulfillment, it gets you active and moving. So I just want to make sure that, for the listeners out there that, this isn't a one size fits all thing. You got to figure out what works for you
Right.
and what provides you, those benefits.
I love it. And you
What a
can do
great
it.
point.
Like, how many times do we say that? Like, it looks different. It can look differently for different people, but like, there's something that, like, there's an element of physical wellness that everybody can do.
Yes,
Like, that everybody can do.
absolutely.
Right. And we know the value of it. And again, and I love that point, Russell. And one of the reasons I asked you about the influence, because from the outside, I see you as having a big influence on the household in terms of your routine and what you do. And sometimes we got to remember that, not just for routine. Like, we always talk about people who are like, how we're influenced by negative things and bad things. Well, can the opposite be true as well? Can't we
Absolutely,
be
it can.
influenced by looking
we
at
can.
good examples, like in
Mhm.
people, doing that? So,
Mhm. Great point.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's important for people to see us too.
Absolutely.
It's
Right.
important for people to see us doing these either conventional physical activities or maybe sometimes more importantly, the unconventional, right? So that we can
Right.
challenge some of these beliefs about what Black folks should or shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Yes.
Because to your point, Russell, it's whatever floats your boat. It's whatever kind of gets you excited. It's whatever you're into. But the bottom line is we got to be moving our bodies,
Yes, man.
right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest obstacles for being consistent, for being physically fit, for being active? What gets in the way?
I know what Russell's going to say.
You want to go first on this one?
Sure, I can go first. The obstacles, my personal, I don't feel, and this is not to sound arrogant, I don't feel that I have obstacles in terms of what I want to do physically. I can say time, right? That's an element. I can say busyness because that's always going to be there. But truthfully, I find, you say doing this since university or whatever. So I find it's part of my routine. Like, it just is. So after work and, certainly Sundays, maybe some Saturdays, but I'm going to get into the gym because that's one of the things that I do. So, and in terms of being intentional, and this is the thing in my job, you don't really have to do this. As a school counselor, I have an opportunity to sit in my office all day. I could kill the day just in my office, but I don't do that for a lot of different reasons. But one of the things is moving around the school. So I like the idea that, Jude, to your point, people see you.
Yes.
Russell, to your point, how it looks differently for different people. So even in my role, I don't know how many, and this is no disparagement to anybody, I don't know how many people do that, like spend a significant amount of time outside their office.
Yep.
And bro, I'm counting my steps. Like the other day, I got 3 clicks just into school alone. So to me, I don't see, like, I'm trying to not think of it in that way in terms of obstacles.
So for me, the reality is that there is, only a certain amount of time in a day. So, trying to balance, my commitments and make sure that I find time to do whatever those things are that, get me moving and provide that outlet for me. So I have 2 young children, so right now they still are quite dependent on me. So obviously that's a priority for me, that, most times will come before that for me, but they are becoming more and more independent, which is, something that I'm starting to enjoy. But,
Right.
Just trying to balance out the schedule as best as I can, as much as I can. And like for me, sometimes that might even look like going to the gym during my lunch break, so that I still get that time. I can still manage my work schedule and those commitments. But you got to be willing to be flexible, if it's something that's important to you. And if it is that important to you, you're going to make and find the time to really, be intentional about, doing it. So, going back to kind of how you frame the question, I think the biggest obstacle, when it all boils down to it, is ourselves, because we're the biggest excuse makers that, we're
So
ever going to
true.
be around. So
Yes.
you can tell yourself anything. You can try to, convince yourself that it's not that bad.
Right.
You'll make up for it tomorrow. You'll go even harder, the next time you do it. But, we're usually our biggest obstacle.
Such a good point.
Another great point, brother. I'm much like you, Malik. It's just part of who I am now. And I like to be consistent. If I could run every day, I would, because to me, it takes the uncertainty out of it. Right? There's no, am I getting up and running or not running? It's you're running every day.
Right.
Right? You don't even have to concern yourself with the question. But one of the things, I guess,
like
that makes things a little bit more difficult as I get older is the physical side of things. Right? You can wake up and you can be a little creaky. Right? You can be a little sore, and that gives you a reason to say, I'm not going to go.
Right.
But most times, if you move beyond that initial discomfort, that first 10 or 15 minutes, things loosen up for the most part.
Right.
And you're glad that you've done it.
So
rolling out of bed sometimes, right? Getting your sneakers on, or just thinking about going to the gym or for the run or whatever that activity is.
Yeah.
When you're feeling a little uncomfortable, can make things just a little bit more difficult.
For sure. And as you said that too, one thing that kind of came to mind for me, and I'm sure it's probably the same for, the two of you and anyone else who might be listening, is that like, I can't think of one time where I've ever regretted being active. You know what I mean?
Great point. Yeah.
Like as much as it might be a struggle to get yourself to do the activity, I've never regretted the activity once I was done.
No.
Oh, I love that. And I never thought of it that way, but it's so true. You were mentioning, your children, and it made me think very quickly about, remember when we were young, when our, parents, whoever, like told you to get it.
Just for the record.
What? We're young?
Longer or something than others.
we're doing ageism? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, we don't like that.
All right.
We're not going to tolerate that, brother.
I'm trying
Tolerance, brother.
I'm trying
Tolerance,
so hard,
buddy.
people, to just be and not. But okay, this is what we're doing. But I see I'm not even I'm gonna let that go. It's called growth. But seriously, when you think of kids, like, get outside and that. So now part of it is your parents just didn't want you in their face. Like, go on about your business. But there was something about, there was an expectation that you be active. Yes. They never wanted you in our days same now, but sitting in front of the TV. They were like, that's not really helping your mind and you're not moving. Like, so everything is wrong about this picture. So you could literally be gone or outside, in my experience and peers, all day. So even though they may not have said explicitly, this is for your health, but really it's for your health. So then it makes me think, so why not incorporate movement where we can and when we can in our adult lives? Why does that have to go, with childhood or adolescence? You know what I'm saying? And then we always talk about this, finding inspiration. So my mother's 80 years old. She talks about, got some blocks in today, and I walk from here to here, and that's about 15 blocks. And so, I ain't walking tomorrow because I got my blood. She's allowed to say that, like, she's 80. So I'm saying, dag, like, if mom can do that, I'm not going to move. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? So your inspiration is important too.
And so we talked a little bit about the benefits, right, of always feeling better after we leave the gym or the run or the bike ride. What are some of the other benefits that you've derived from being intentional about your physical wellness?
So one of the first things that comes to mind for me is just like, and I mentioned, being a parent of young children that are still dependent on me. So there's a lot of dad and daddy all day long. And I know that when I am intentional about making time to be active. I have a lot more patience,
Mm.
tolerance, for all of that energy that comes with those young people. My productivity's better. It's proven. When I'm
Okay.
in my routine, my productivity's much better. I sleep better. It's easier for me to make, better choices around my food intake.
Mhm.
Just my mood, my vibe, like, is always just, it's much more positive
Mm.
when I'm consistent with, that active part of my life. So, those are some of the first things that come to mind. But like the patience thing for me is really important because I try to model and lead by example when it comes to my kids, so
Right.
I don't want them to, just see me as, oh, daddy's irritable. He didn't go to the gym today, things like that. And they will say it. They have said it, So I think it's really
Mm.
important to just model and lead by example. And I'm hoping that in doing that, it'll be something that they pick up and will prioritize in their own lives.
Nice one.
Mm.
I love
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
What about you, bro?
There's the feel good. There's the feel good element, right? That stays with you long after you finish the physical activity. Um, Again, setting the example, to Russell's point. I want my grandkids seeing me sweating. Every time I'm in the house, I'm telling them I'm coming back from the gym, or I'm going to the gym, or I'm going for a run, or do you want to come for the bike ride?
Nice.
To impart that kind of normalized expectation that this is what we do.
Mhm.
Peace, right? Getting away from things, all the pressures and expectations we have. When you're at the gym, you're not concerned about that, or at least I'm hoping that's not the case.
Right.
You're able to clear your mind and provide yourself with a little bit of comfort, or I don't know, getting away from the voices in our head that you've been talking about before we get on here.
Right. Yeah, you should. I mean, you definitely should be intentional about the voices in your head.
Listen,
Because
I'd rather the voices in my ear than yours.
Listen, man. My voices guide me. My voices guide me well.
Voices are psychopathic, man.
And just one other
Schizophrenic.
thing that I just want to say quickly too, and this came from what you were just speaking to, Jude, too, is like, I find it so easy for anyone to get distracted by like things that will consume our time and not affect us in a positive way. People can easily get lost in social media,
Yes.
binge watching a show or whatever that might be that distracts you. But when you do something active and you can, find, like you said, peace, and it's just a distraction from the pace of what's going on in life. It's a distraction from the things that are consuming your thoughts. It's a distraction from, what might be coming up in the next couple of days. It just gives you a place to kind of escape to, but also there's a lot of great positive benefits from it.
Definitely. I don't really have much to add to the benefits. I feel like you brothers covered it. I will say this: when you mentioned about like diet, I like, in my experience lately, I'm seeing more brothers talk about diet, like what they put in their body, which is
Mhm.
cool. Now, is it coincidental that we're in health spaces? Like that's kind of the vibe. So people will do that. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But more brothers my age, older, younger, like of different generations talking about, yeah, I try not to eat so much of this. Um, uh, you know, Russell at Black Fathers and Father Figure sessions, brothers talking about, I've lessened my drinking, or I've stopped drinking completely, or I'm cutting back on fried food or stuff like that.
Right.
I love food, and I ate a lot of junk as a kid. Now we also know typically like healthier food oftentimes is more expensive than food that's not healthy for you, or
Absolutely is.
processed food.
Yep.
But honestly, I find everything's expensive now. So it feels like you can make a choice with about what you're putting into your body, and the main thing is like just thinking about what you're putting into your body. If the movement part, however that looks, we're making it, and it is part of our lifestyle, and we're trying to encourage that for everybody, especially other Black men, then the other intentional part has to be what we're putting in our bodies. And I'm not sitting up here saying I'm perfect, because I'm not perfect at all in terms of what I put in my body. But I think I think I'm getting better. Like it's not, you know, it ain't Mickey D's all the time. You know, it's not processed food all the time. So that's the physical in the movement part has allowed me to be intentional about what I need. Damn, hit the mic. That was loud. What I need to put in my body and what needs to stay away from my body.
So we've all made physical activity part of our everyday get down, but there's a large number of folks in our community that really struggle with this. So what advice would you be giving other brothers when it comes to adopting some of these practices that are serving you?
For me, I always try to encourage people to start small, you know, because we see a lot of people that try to do, you know, the New Year's resolution, and they're trying to literally start something on the first day of a new year that they've never started ever before in their life. And they're trying to do it like full out. You know what I mean? I'm going to the gym 5 days a week starting January 1st. And the last 10 years, you ain't been to the gym 5 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I think it's important when you're trying to do something new is try to put yourself in a position to be successful.
Right.
You know, so like, let's start off with twice a week.
Right.
Crush that for 2 months. And then let's, what can I increase? How can I increase? What does that look like? So I think it's important to just try to start something, but you want to start something that is going to allow you to be successful so that you can build on it. Because a lot of times we shoot too high and then we fail or we miss. And then it's easy to say, oh, well, I tried, you know, it's not for me, you know? So I think it's important to try to find something that is realistic, put yourself in a position to be successful. And you just got to start somewhere, you know? And then the other thing that I think is always, you know, helpful too, is if you can get yourself around people that are promoting that and practicing it, you know, similar to like what you talked about in this household, it's contagious.
Right.
You know, it's something that people are going to, you know, going to start to make a way of their life because everyone else around me is doing it and they're influencing me. And then also, not to mention, if you see other people that are benefiting from it, it's going to be hard for you to not notice those benefits, right? So that's kind of what I would you know, suggest to anyone that's trying to get started.
And those are bang on. Those are 100%. I would add to it, whatever you're doing, you know, be conscious about incorporating joyful things in it. Like, what can I bring to this? If I'm walking and I don't want to walk or I haven't walked, what can I bring to the table that's going to bring joy? Okay, maybe I can listen to my music. Maybe I can listen to, you know, a podcast or, you know, an audiobook or something.
Listen to Elevating the Culture.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Do that. And Russell's thing definitely with getting a partner or getting people, I think can definitely help because you're in this together. And there's a social element. Go ahead.
Even I was going to say too, like, you know, that accountability piece too is good when you have folks around you, people, a community around you that are holding one another accountable. Like today I might be having a hard time, but if you guys are giving me a hard time and, you know, on my case, I'm like, all right, just so I don't have to listen to them, that's the motivation I need to get this workout in.
Why was that example? We had to be negative. Like, I don't.
It's supposed to be a constructive podcast.
That's what I'm saying. It feels like a sideways shot. It just, you can never see. You're only good for so long. It's like my mother said, they're only good for so long.
Drops the mask. No, how about we shift to?
Can I just add one last thing about that part too?
Adding.
Absolutely.
So the other thing that I think is important for people to think about too, if they're trying to be active and explore ways to be active, is that you want to make sure that you're doing it for yourself. Because then it's going to be more likely that it's going to be sustainable. It's going to be something that catches. You know, a lot of times you see people and they're doing it for other reasons that aren't for them. It's not personal. And a lot of times it's hard to stay committed to those things because you're doing it for wrong reasons, right? So I think it's important if you can, you know, invest in yourself so that you know that this is for you. And in turn, the people around me are going to benefit from it too. And it's not like I'm doing it for somebody else.
So imagine if we adopted that idea and we also tried to make it fun so it wasn't so onerous.
Right.
People be a lot less resistant to it. And maybe one thing that we can do is that we can take folks with us. We can ask folks to come on board, go for the walk with us, come to the gym, whatever those things are, try to involve them, right? Ask them to come for a bike ride. for the
Yeah.
100th time,
Right.
Yeah.
even though they say no every time.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
keep asking them. Because
Absolutely.
you never know. Next summer, they might get on the bike.
Right.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
getting it from both sides. Okay. All right.
So, rapid fire. I'll start with this simple question. Morning or the evening in terms of your physical activity? Are you a morning guy or do you have to get things done in the evening?
For me, my preference is the morning. It just sets the tone for the rest of the day, productivity, getting something done in the day. And yeah, for me, I prefer the morning. I tend to have more energy in the morning. And yeah, for me, it's always going to be the morning if I have the option.
I'll do the opposite, right?
That's who you are.
Evening.
The contrarian.
Jeez, man. Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Let me breathe, Malik. Don't say what you want to say at these cats because it's not healthy. It's not productive. And it doesn't elevate the culture. I'll say evening because, it's a decompress thing. So, after working all day or doing what I'm doing, that's the moment that I really step away from all of that stuff, even if it's for an hour, which is typically an hour and a half. And so I'll have for that purpose, the decompression, I'll say evening.
Cool.
What about you?
Oh, man, come on. It's morning. My ideal day is being up at 5 o'clock.
5 a.m. club.
Word up. Nice book, too, by the way.
Just read it.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
Nice one.
Or so actually, no, I don't want. Yeah, no, yes, no. I read it in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I read it in the summer.
Yeah, this is a nice little quick, little motivational read.
Mm-hmm.
Dope. Speaking of reading, just finished The Alchemist again. If you haven't read The Alchemist,
Oh wow,
I really encourage you to check that one out, man. That's dope. I think it's Paulo Coelho, maybe something like that.
okay,
Okay. What y'all got for rapid fire?
So
here we go. The
Oh,
king of
boy.
preambles.
no, there's no
The
preamble,
king.
but just like
It's a preamble. Yeah, like pause. Okay. Anyways, good. See, this is the beauty of these like digital era. This will be you're not going to see this because we're going to edit it out. Anyway,
so just quick, what's your preference in terms of a teaching method? Do you prefer to teach through words or teach through action? And you can't say both. Preference.
I think the people who know me best would say I like to teach through words because I'm always talking at people. See, I didn't like that. There's too much energy in that.
what Russell doing?
No, you. But what I would say is I would think that I would rather teach through action than word. Great question, though.
Great question. I'll take the opposite again. I'll say words, because I just know that words have so much value, and you can say things and you can plant seeds with words, and it can come to fruition maybe much later on, but it can come to fruition. So, and I just feel the power of words and the power of that language.
Dope. So for me, this goes back to like my role as a parent, but I would say actions.
Okay.
My kids, they pay attention more to what I do versus what I say. You know what I mean? I'll try to come up with the best ways to articulate and communicate the message to my children. But if I don't demonstrate what I'm saying to them, they turn me off. So I try to
Facts.
try to demonstrate through my actions and teach through my actions.
Fair enough.
I love that.
It all makes sense.
Yep.
Here's the rapid fire one. So one thing that you would, the main thing that you got to work on about yourself. Let's go there.
Oh, Jesus. The main thing.
The
I gotta
main
work
thing.
on.
If we all got numerous things to work on, it's cool. But if we're starting with the number one, right, in your mind, what is it?
Man, I got a 1 A, B, C, D, and
Right.
E.
That's exactly why I did it. I
So-
want you thinking.
So for me right now, one thing that I would say that I want to try to get a better handle on is just like when I go to bed at night. Like summer throws me off in terms of my sleep schedule. And right now I'm having a hard time of getting back into a better routine, and I'm feeling it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So I want to try to get better at going to bed at a more, earlier time so that I can be more well rested. That would be something that I really want to prioritize right now. But there's so many, but that's the first one that comes to mind. That's a good one.
Okay. I like that, bro.
Something that comes to mind when you say that, and I was kind of triggered by something you shared earlier, was the idea of not taking things personally, regardless of what's going on, how people are responding to you, not taking that personal. Life becomes so much easier if we could adopt that perspective, as opposed to ruminating and trying to interpret, not personalizing it, right? Giving some understanding and empathy of where that might be coming from. If someone is angry or frustrated with you, or not responding the way they should be. That's something I need to invest more effort into.
And just you did a little
back. 1B.
You did a little
1B.
You did a little book plug too, but that just made me think of the 4 agreements. Because that is one of the 4 agreements is don't take it personal.
Right.
And obviously in the book it unpacks it a lot with a lot more depth, but like it sounds simplistic, but if we can learn how to apply it and live by it, it can literally change your life.
Oh man. All that angst that you're carrying with you, you let go. All that resentment, frustration, and anger at Black Adam or Russell or, of course, Malik, right? You can put that down as opposed to carrying it with you.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm glad you brought Black Adam in it. At least, you know what I mean? Like, geez, I'm taking major heat. I love the sleep thing. I got to work on that. Yeah, I'm not a great sleeper. I probably said that before, but also I know that it's within my control, because part of it is simple. I just got to go to sleep earlier and stop this foolishness, right? So I can do that, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate Jude. And that's hard, man. We also got to you know what I mean? It's a human thing because if people are coming at you that way, it's hard. I try to say for that one, I only take it personal if it's personal. Like if you're intending to upset me,
right?
Like then I guess it's on and popping right now. Then I can, you know what I mean? I can, and I'm not saying fight fire with fire, but I'm saying at least I know where.
That's what I heard.
I heard it.
Yeah, well, you got to let people know. Like just because you try to be healthy, don't mean you're soft. Like also, like don't get twisted. You know what I mean? We could turn it up in here if you want, but yeah, I'm trying not to do it. So it's so, and that's when I work on both of those. I work on. And I would also say, I alluded to it a bit before in terms of time, but it's people. Working on my patience with people, not being so quick to judge, not being so quick to respond, letting it sit there for a bit. And Jude, I'll use your word ruminate. So try to ruminate in a good way. Try to think about it. Step back a bit and not. Because that quick reaction, that quick response, I know in my experience has not always served me well. And working on patience with people. And that doesn't mean that and some people may not even see it. I feel like all of us are pretty solid in terms of how we present. We can look the role, we can play the part, we know how to do that. But on the inside, I can be really frustrated with somebody, and a lot of times it's not necessary. So working inwardly and sometimes outwardly on my patience with people, for sure.
Got some work to do.
You're just here's the thing. You laughing a little bit too quick and too fast.
I'm just loving that Jude's in on it for once.
Oh, I know. For once.
I feel like I'm over here solo a lot of times.
What are you talking about, brother?
Yeah. Are you out of your mind? Everybody knows I take the most heat.
Although
my sister thinks you take the most heat. She's like, oh, you guys got to ease up on Russ. I was like, ease up on Russ.
You got a
He's
free
like,
pass.
oh, you and Jude. I was like, what? This is what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so
The listeners know what's going on.
yeah, okay. Well, she's one of them. My own blood said just ease up on the other guy. Okay, all right.
Check the feedback on that. So that brings us to the next segment, which is sharing what is elevating us. Russ, what's elevating you right now on the physical side of things?
Community.
Mm.
And
Yep.
and just like, obviously community is a broad way of kind of talking about community, but there's just so many more spaces where we're showing up and, being intentional and just engaging and leaning into things that we haven't traditionally, culturally, and historically, engaged in. So that is elevating me. Just being inspired by that. I was just literally saying the other day how like I love how I see more and more. So many of us are literally challenging societal and cultural norms every day.
Mhm.
Just by existing, walking, talking, and just being unapologetically, proud Black men.
Love it.
We're challenging and breaking those cultural and societal norms. So that's elevating me right now.
Mm.
Community. I love that. I love everything you said. And I would add what's elevating me is more of, well, part of this actually is related to you, Russell, in terms of your dude messaging me today, wanting to talk so we can come up with some ways or plan on how to support young brothers, right? So one of Russell's dude, Devin, who I don't know, but I'm going to get to know, is a football coach, and he has brothers on the team. And my understanding is he wants to, find ways to help support those brothers, academically and otherwise, whoever needs it. So just that, like, you know what I mean? Because he just really, his role is just to coach football. He don't have to reach out to me, but the fact that he's thinking of that. So when Russell says, "Yeah, man, can I?" Yeah, absolutely, brother. If you're going in the right direction, you can absolutely give that any person my contact. You know what I mean? So that elevates me that there's cats out there who are thinking outside themselves. I love that.
Young cats.
Shout out to
especially,
Devin.
Like engaging those
Yeah, shout out to
folks.
Devin.
What's elevating me is that things are picking up again. Involved in a number of initiatives that have some promise, from the gender-based violence program that we're considering, Russell, to the men's sessions that will be starting in Truro, the senior sessions that will be starting, and this kind of community development center that we are focused on in Truro. Some good things have been happening. So a lot of times community development is frustrating, right? But sometimes you get those moments when things seem to be moving forward, coming together, and they kind of justify all the effort that you're investing in them. So
Yes,
things are good.
That's what's up.
Things
I
are
love
good.
it. I love it. And make sure we get invites to these sessions.
Again, I put them in the chat, and I think they're just disregarded. So I want the audience to know that sometimes these words aren't genuine. They're not genuine.
Oh,
But
man.
we start in October. Absolutely. I'll extend the invitation. I would love for y'all to come up and actually speak at one or two of the sessions, or just be in the space with the brothers, break bread with them afterwards.
Yeah, man.
I'm going on record and letting the people know I'll be there.
Cool. Well,
Okay, well,
we
I
got
have
one
to be
commitment.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, he may not be on time, but he'll be there.
Couldn't
So
help
you just
himself.
making sure you have a
Couldn't help
broad
himself.
window away.
Nah,
He's bringing it back, man.
the traffic's easy to get to Truro. That's light.
That's a shot at Truro. You ain't got
Listen,
nobody up there. That's what he's saying. There's no
listen,
cars on the
I
road.
ain't trying to get into that. I'm not letting you provoke and trigger me. Right?
I feel like I already have. Mission accomplished, people. I got it.
Brothers, we did it again. Thanks for the discussion. Is there any last words that anybody wants to share before we sign off?
I would just encourage anybody that, hasn't started, making being active a priority. You just got to get started. That's all you got to do is start. It only takes, trying something new and putting time into it and being intentional about it before it becomes a way of life, as opposed to a habit or just something that you're trying. Like, just get started.
I like it.
I
And
love that.
I would add, just think of think of the resolution. Think of what the positive solutions are, what the positive resolutions are. We often, I feel we get stuck in the identification stage. We can go to a space and we can spend 90% of that identifying what the problems are when we already know what the problems are. So identify quickly, but then let's move on to the solution.
And maybe another question to ask yourself is what happens if you do nothing, if nothing changes?
Right.
Cool. As always, we want to thank Black Adam for supporting, producing,
My guy,
editing
Black
this
Adam.
podcast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. See you next time on Elevating the Culture.
Peace, people.